guys have any U sub, please show me all your work, because even if you can't make the match, remember, I can give you partial credit if you do the U and the DU legally. But remember, you're allowed to split up numerators, that's a thing. You're allowed to divide improper fractions, that's a thing. And remember, dividing, that's even if I have like an x squared over an x squared, I can divide. You might want to peek at arctrig just to make sure those are still in your brain. But otherwise, I think we're okay. As long as you review those integration rules. Now guys, I do want us to peek at your practice test after your test review, and maybe I can give a couple other special hints as far as like, ooh, this would be a good one to look at, etc., etc. But do you guys have any questions before we go to the book first, and then we go to the practice test? Yeah, PK.
So there aren't any like the y equals c.
I specifically started to say that formula when I was giving a hint for, anybody catch what section I'm talking about? Huh? Yeah, but what part of the test was I talking about? No. Long answer, you have a differential equation or you have a U sub. Yeah, it was the multiple choice hints on the first page. So there is going to be one, but it's not going to be the doubling, tripling, half-life table, that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? And it's either going to be a differential equation that needs you to like take an e to get y by itself with that c times, or it's going to be a nice one where they actually give you the y equals c times e to that, and you're plugging in, aka giving the solutions. But other than that, no. Section 5.2, I'm not making a huge deal on it because the AP doesn't make a huge deal on it. People who are just joining us in the video, I'm so sorry. Period 1, like their video failed, and then period 6. I'm not used to taping in here. So we just went over hints on the test itself, but look at Google Classroom. Something looked a little funny when I was looking at a couple different versions, and I think I might have changed some of the multiple choice to be a little more applicable. So look on Google Classroom tonight, just in case I want to add any additional hints. But otherwise, you have a U sub showing your steps clearly, long answer, some matching with, what hint did I give you with the matching slope field? dy dx, matching slope fields with dy dx, and then an FRQ with drawing a slope field and then solving a differential equation, those ones that had tons of points. But then otherwise, I said 5.2 isn't going to be a huge focus, which means, like in here, guys, number 21, wasn't that one of those crazy 5.2 guys? Good for this chapter, just not really super important for the test. And then down here in the graph, isn't this one that was particular to 5.2? Not a huge deal for tomorrow, except a y equals c times e to the plug it in. I mean, that part's still good. And then did I give you any weird half-life doubling? I don't think I did. Except down, not down here, over here on page 404, Kathleen, as soon as she walked in this morning, Kathleen Wang was like, 2 and 3, please, can we go over 2 and 3? 2 is tricky, but it also talks about tripling. And that's what I said is not going to be on there tomorrow. Half-life, doubling, tripling.
Tripling.
Yeah. And it's not bad as long as you memorize the, but...
There's no half-life.
I'd rather you be good at integrals than at doubling and tripling.
So there's no half-life?
No half-life. No half-life, John. Number 3 is a good one to practice. Now, number 3 is a little bit easier than the ones you'll see tomorrow, just because, do you guys know what's going to happen when I make dy dx and I multiply? It's going to be the c times e to the kx or kt. And this one, can you guys tell if it's k or x or kt from the problem? Does it matter? Yeah, why is it going to be an x? Yeah, it says f of x. So remember, in our book, we did a lot of t's. We did a lot of f of t's. But, I mean, f of x is the same idea. So technically, it's not for better or for worse. This is one of those from 5.2. You could have gone straight here. Yeah, right? But I did say just use it. I did say there was one on the test where it gives you a general solution and says just use it. how would we use this? I mean, if we jumped, otherwise we would have to do this. If you didn't know this, right? You have to go ahead and multiply. You'd have to go ahead and integrate and get y. Oh, I can't integrate yet. Not until I move. What needs to move?
Y.
Good. I need to move the y. And if I can avoid moving the k, I do. It makes life a little bit easier. Okay, now I can integrate, and I get ln. Wait, how do I undo an ln?
E.
Good. E to the. Why is it c?
Because it's the same thing as e to the x.
Yeah, we're going to see this in maybe a couple different questions that you guys have today. But remember, this is the same thing as e to the kx times e to the c, right?
Wait, do we have to do that or really?
You can go straight to
Oh.
here. Yeah, you can go straight to there. But anyway, we're here. Why am I going to go get a blue pen now? Saying like, hey, we could have avoided all this work by just using this. How do I use it?
So I do
Plug it in.
C.
Yeah, the point is plug in. And the easier one to plug in first is,
C. I mean
yeah. Oh, Selma went straight to plugging in 8?
Yeah.
That's snazzy. Could you also have just plugged in 1 point at a time? 8 is y when x is 0. Could you have taken
I
your
did
time?
that.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you went straight.
No, I didn't like that.
Okay, so then plug in 0, plug in 8, and we end up with anything to the 0 is 1, so c equals 8. But I'm not done yet. So now I need to plug in the other one, yeah?
So 2 equals
Because remember, x is 6 and y is 2. And I have 8e to the k times, how do I get to k?
ln.
Divide by 8. You divide by 8 first.
Yeah, we could do ln, but do you see how now, how do I cross out?
Yeah, you get it.
So it'd be a little easier, actually a lot easier,
Oh,
if you say get e alone first. So divide by 8, divide by 8. I end up with 1/4 is e to the 6.
Okay.
Now put in an ln, because I can now cancel out. Oh, and don't I just
Wait,
divide by 6?
1/6.
Uh-huh. So 1/6 ln of 1/4 equals k. All I need to do is go plug that in the k spot. So I have 8e to the, now I would say 1/6 ln 1/4 x, but they put the x in front because they say, it's nicer if it's not after the ln but before. Either way.
What is it?
Oh, because I have to divide both sides by 6. Sorry,
Oh,
Matthew,
yeah.
I didn't fully show it. There you go. And 1/6 is another way of writing divide by 6.
Oh, okay.
Between 4 and 5, which one would be more helpful? Good question. Oh, number 4.
Tony's asking for 5, but PK was asking first which one's more helpful. So let's see if I can get my computer to cooperate.
It's running at full speed to just try to cooperate with you.
Yeah. I mean, I could say
It's
thank you to the
struggling.
computer. I know. Looking at 4 or 5, to be honest, I think 4 is better for tomorrow. 5, Tony, you asked about that one really quickly. So on number 5, it says, which is the solution? Remember, for this, you could technically find the derivative, right, and plug in. You could go backwards. So I could find dy dx, find dy dx, find dy dx. I could put that on this side, and then I could take the y and plug in. But one way or the other, I guess you could integrate, but that will take longer. They gave you answers. You can just check backwards. So like this one is 3x squared. Would that be x cubed, 3x cubed over x? Uh-oh, that looks good. But what else would I have to check? Yeah, the clue. So if I plug in 1, do I get -1? Wait, no, that doesn't work. I can't plug in 1 and get -1. Can I plug in 1 and get -1 here? Ooh, okay, so that works for part C. Can I plug in 1 and get -1 there? Yep. Can I plug in 1 and get -1 there? No, -1 minus 2 is 3. Right away I can say neither of these work with the clue, so forget that. But both of these with the clue, both of these work with the clue. So then you could go ahead, and what I did is I found this guy's dy dx. So dy dx needs to equal 3 times that guy. And that is 3x squared. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's good. try this guy, I'd have negative 3x squared equals negative 3x cubed all over x. Uh-oh. Oh, I plugged into this one. Sorry, I didn't plug into the next one. This guy is 3x squared is equal to 3 times y, which is 3x cubed minus 2. That doesn't work. I didn't plug in my y properly. It'd be 3 times x cubed minus 2, which does not match at all. So that's a no. So he's are crossed out. So then tell me that one's a B. But for those of you guys that are listening, which one did I say was better for the test tomorrow?
I don't.
Not that one. This one you could have moved dx to both sides. It just wasn't the fastest way to solve it. But the one that's most helpful for tomorrow would be number 4. Except, did you guys hear how I said the derivative was going to be written tomorrow when you see it? Is it dy dx or is it y prime? Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and write it like it will be tomorrow, which says, what if, oh, I wouldn't use blue. I wouldn't use blue. What if there was a y prime here instead? Okay? What if there was a y prime, if there was a y prime, how would we, or where would we start?
dy dx.
Okay. So if it was y prime is equal to 2xy squared. All right, arrange for me.
Y to y, x to x. Like, put them on the same side.
Well, I would say multiply dx on the other side. Okay.
And then divide y square on
Now,
both
a
sides.
few of you had some issues last test. What to do next?
Integrate.
Don't do ln. Rewrite it to be y to the negative 2. Matthew was saying it up here. It's just a power rule.
Oh,
Good.
that was like, it was so easy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I gave partial as long as you tried to do the U step.
I'm fine right now.
You guys are getting your test back after you take tomorrow. Let's just get through tomorrow first. But rewrite y to the
Probably our
negative
test is
2
bad because
equals.
you don't want it to impact.
Well, I actually just finished them up yesterday. So. But
Okay.
at this point, yeah, I don't want to distract you. You're right, Joe. You're right. That's going to be y to the negative 1, negative. How do I get y by itself? Ooh, multiply. I like that, but some people might not know why yet.
Yeah.
Now what?
So now you divide, wait, y equals negative 1 over x
Yeah.
squared plus c.
What did Sama do?
Oh,
Basically flipped it. Another way of thinking about it is you can multiply up y and then divide. Either way. You can multiply up and then divide. Ooh, problem. Why am I coming over and getting a blue pen?
Yeah, but then I know.
Yeah, it's hard to get feel of, right? So hold on. I plug in x is negative 1, y is 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I plug in y is 2, which we could say negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. I know you guys don't like it, but when we had the y in the denominator, what did we do? Yeah, we moved it. We multiplied it. So what are we going to do if the 1 plus c is in the denominator? We're going to multiply it.
Wait, but 1 plus c was a c.
1 plus c. Because you have to think whole denominator. Group together. So then I get 2 times 1 plus c. Hold on. You guys see why I'm saying 2 plus 2c?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But I freed the 1 plus c and I distribute the 2 and then I say, easy. Subtract the 2, negative 3, divide by 2.
Easy is the most easy.
negative 3 over 2.
Yeah.
I got it.
Hold on. It was c in period 1. I made a little mistake, but where is it? Y is equal to 2. X is equal to...
What is your C equal?
Oh, because we're not done. Thank you. What does C equal?
Negative 3 over 2.
But what was the question?
Y.
Look at them being mean. You're not done. You gotta plug it in. Plug in what? 2.
You're so.
So what? I know. Y equals negative 1 over x squared minus 3 halves. Wait, who squared? 2 squared. So 4 minus 3 halves, 8 halves minus 3 halves, 5 halves, negative 1 over 5 halves. Negative 2/5. Struggle. Well, you guys actually got a better experience than period 1. Period 1, we just kept going because I saw what I was supposed to do. The y of 2 at the very beginning. This time I got distracted. So I made one of your common mistakes. Gotta keep reading. No, it's a good thing though, right? Because, see, it's right there. It's negative 3 halves. We're done. No, we're not. Keep reading. Math sounds right.
Yeah, couldn't you just plug in your clue once you got negative 1 over y is equal to x squared plus c? So you can get your c faster instead of having to move the y over and then divide. I'm just saying you can just plug in straight from there.
Yeah, you would still have to get your y by itself, so you would have ended up at the same spot. Did you get negative 2/5?
Yeah, I did.
Cool. Yeah, we would have ended up at the same spot. Different people have different ways they like to do it. Some people like to get the y by itself, then plug in. Some people like to do it earlier and then solve for the y. Both ways are valid. Something else you guys want to see? On the test review in the book. Page 402 and 404. Okay, so then practice tests. Are there any places that you guys have been playing, working, that you want us to talk about? You can say no. I'm just offering.
9.
9?
No, it's no in German.
Oh, as in.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Do you guys see how number 1 shouldn't be one that we stress about a lot?
Yeah.
Right? Because what's number 1 say? Half-life, yeah, so it's not a big deal for tomorrow, true? Number 2, I mean, that's a good one. It's not multiple choice, and I said most of these will be multiple choice, but still good. But number 3, okay, this one does have a y prime. It does want us to go back, and it does need a green pen trick.
There we go.
Green pen trick? That means there's a GCF that needs to come out?
Oh.
Hold on. Y prime. Whenever we see it tomorrow, what are we going to do?
Don't we split for this?
And we're going to multiply this to the other side. And we are going to realize that we need a U sub.
And you gotta solve for x.
But when you guys are doing that, not everything is going to go away. So we're going to need to say, wait a minute. I think we need some substitution on prime. When I go to plug in, what I'm going to end up having is, let's see, y equals, because integral of 1 dy is just 1. But then over here, I would have to rewrite that x unless I see that it's also just u minus 1 square root of u du. And maybe some of you remember, oh hey, isn't square root of u the same thing as u to the 1/2? Can't I bring that in, or bring that in, to be u to the 3/2 minus u to the 1/2? Is there a rule that I can use to integrate? Some of you right now would choose letter A and be wrong. Because you're like, oh, u to the 5/2 times 2/5 minus, well, I think it's u to the 3/2 2/3, but maybe I made a mistake. It must be A. A is the one that almost definitely it is not.
Some minor tweaks.
See it? See the minor tweak?
1/3.
Exactly.
It's a
not.
1 instead of a 2. I'm going to go get a green pen. Why am I getting a green pen? I have some common stuff. I don't settle for a wrong answer that looks kind of close to mine. I
You
keep
can
going.
pull out a 3/2u.
Yeah, I can pull out a u to the 3/2.
Yeah.
Oh, does that make sense where these two came from?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Ooh, maybe it's a B or a D.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, there's no way it's C. Look at that. They don't even have any numbers. Okay.
No.
I don't even know. So now
Why
we have a B,
bother?
a D, or a B.
Yeah.
Can we pull out a 2?
Yes.
Okay, so we end up with a 1/5 times, because pull out the 2, u to the 5 halves minus 3 halves is u to the 1.
So it's just
Oh, okay, just u. And then minus, and then we pulled out the 2, so 1/3, and the u is gone. Well, I mean, that has a 2. I guess we just go for it. We don't do that here. So let's go ahead and plug in, and we have x plus 1, it's the 3 halves, times 1/5 x plus 1 minus 1/3. Let's see. That's 1/5 plus 1/5 minus 1/3. Don't I need like a common denominator for that? 1/5 is
15.
times 3 over 3 would be 3/15, right? And then that would be times 5 over 5, 5/15. So minus 2/15. Which one is it? Not, definitely. Not D, because that doesn't match what I have. But how on earth can it be B? What did they take out? Oh, they took out the 1/5.
GCM.
Why? I don't know, but they
Because
did.
they just want to make their answer.
They wanted a
unique.
1x, I guess, so we get 2/3. Usually they would have taken out a 1/3 also, and you could have just gotten this to be 15ths and that to be 15ths and pulled out a 2/15ths. Usually they don't leave any fractions. For some reason, this question they left a little baby fraction. But you guys could have also multiplied this guy in to be 2/5 and to be 4/15ths. And then you could have multiplied that in to be 2/5 and to be 4/15ths. You can kind of play with answers and see if they match, even if they don't look exactly the same. But yeah, that was a good question. That's B. I don't think there's a green pen trick on the test tomorrow, but there is possibly an integration on crack. Where, well, it could be like in a fraction or something instead of a square.
No way. No way.
The only time the green pen trick is really nasty is when you have a square root, like a non-fraction. Yeah, this is the typical green pen type problem with a square root, something on the outside, something on the inside. Is there something else you guys want to see the practice test? Our minutes are ticking down. I am going to be here for a bit after school and here in 7th grade. Tomorrow morning I do have a department chair meeting, so my room won't be open. But I will work to be in here at, oh, it doesn't help you, sorry. I'm trying to bring in, I am going to be here at 1:45 because I'm advising period 1 to get in here ASAP, to have as much time as possible. You guys don't have to get here before school starts, lucky ducks, but what do you need to take the initiative to do? Get your extra time, come into lunch. Now, quick heads up, I talked to BC today. What do they have tomorrow too? They're right before lunch, you guys are right after lunch. So they're going to be getting their extra time this way, and you're getting your extra time this way. What does that mean? Okay, so they're going to be staggered around the room. BC kids, they're still here when you come, just stagger right next to them, because then AB will be the other side. Does that make sense?
Good.
If there's a BC kid, just sit right next to or right in front of. Don't stagger with the BC kids. Stagger next to them. Do you guys know? Notes, homework spirals, phones up. Practice tests are all online, yeah?
Can you ask for help?
For bonus? What were you saying, Joe? Sorry.
No, I was just saying, can we ask for help in PC kids when we're
You can raise your hand and ask me for help. Just don't ask them for help. Hopefully they'll all be gone. I was like, guys, if you can really finish up, it'll help AB just come in and focus. But if they're still taking theirs, they technically have the right to get their extra time the same way kind of you guys do. So, you guys heard it was non-calculated. Study your antiderivatives. And I don't mind totally it recording. Was there something else? I was going to peek at the practice test. Oh, I gave you some practice FRQs. Isn't that nice of me? And one of them has a scope field that you draw and then you solve. Does that sound familiar? It's not the exact same one as the test, but it's awful similar. Which one's a good one to study?
Review.
Which one's a good one to study?
Everything.
All of them.
Well, all of them. But hey, half-life, some things are harder than the test is going to be.
Well, others.
All right, cool kids. If you need me, come find me. Otherwise, please study. Please study, but not just study. Please practice. And use my answer key to hopefully kind of guide you if you make a mistake to find it. See you guys later.